Pregame.com.
Welcome back to pregame.tv. Don't change the dial. You're not watching a rerun. Yeah, we're going to do LA Dodgers, San Diego Padres, Part 2. This is the Sunday game, and Ken's going to be involved in this one. And continuing from our last video, obviously, we're talking about San Diego Padres being an underrated team. I'll tell you somebody else that's underrated is this kid Cashner for San Diego. He's been a pleasant surprise. I don't think anybody thought he was going to be as consistent as he's been. He's gone into the 7th or beyond in his last 3 starts for San Diego, giving up 3 runs or less in all 3 of them. And when you're starting to get these quality starts, from these young guys, and if they can carry that, that's going to be the thing. And I know, like last year with my Pittsburgh Pirates and James McDonald, started out good, and then, you start to get second half of the season, people start seeing you for the second or third time. Things start to change. Arm gets a little tired. These young guys, they're used to pitching, in the minor leagues and not logging the innings that they do in the majors. So that's going to be one of the concerns that we'll have to watch with San Diego in the second half if they can continue it. But right now, they're a hot ball club.
Playing good ball, and they're starting to realize that they are a player in the NL West. And the offense clicking, and we talked about, a couple guys stepping up long balls. Nobody that's really going to have those eye-opening stats that we look at from other teams. And there's no household names. It's kind of like the Houston Astros. They're winning games. We don't know half those guys until you start following. Then you see the same name kind of popping up here and there, and you start getting familiar. Okay, this guy may have potential. San Diego has those guys. And as I talked about with Cabrera, Maben, Jerko, and Alonso all going down, you're figuring, okay, they can't have anything else. But when they start bringing up guys like Forsythe, and Amarista, Siriaco, who hit his first home run last night against the Dodgers. There's some potential. There's some good stuff coming out of the farm system. That's good news. And, of course, they did bring the fences in prior to the beginning of the season at both Safeco and Petco, so that's helping a little bit as far as the San Diego offense getting able to get some of those long balls out of a very tough place to homer in the last several years, Petco.
Yeah, well, definitely, as we said in the previous video, that's the biggest surprise to me with San Diego. San Diego is one of these teams that seems like they've always found these young pitchers that were, decent, but they didn't have any offense. And, now they've got the right lineup with the ballpark, pulled in the fences that they are scoring runs. And that's the biggest surprise to me. And I think that, they continue to hit the way they're hitting there. And if they can maintain this pitching, this is a team that's going to, they're not a contender yet,
right,
in the West, but they're going to be a factor in determining who ends up winning this, because I think they're going to be a spoiler down the stretch, and maybe they're, a year or two away adding a couple more pieces to this team that has a nice young nucleus. And you look at a team like this with all the no names, or you think more teams are starting to look at the Oakland A's and Moneyball?
Looking that way, huh?
I mean, it's great because they're having success, and the movie just came out a couple years ago, and Oakland comes back and has 2 good years in a row now after it, but you can't argue with it. The numbers are playing its way out, and when you got a team like that, and looking. Pittsburgh, the Pirates, they're finally, knock on wood, I want to get them over the hump. I don't want to jinx them yet, but you've got these teams that the small market cities are, putting out some competitive teams again.
Yeah, and if San Diego can just avoid another month like April, like you talked about, that 5-15 start, they can do that. Marco, with injuries to guys like Sandoval, and we saw Hanley Ramirez go down a couple times for the Dodgers, if these other teams in the division have key injuries, San Diego might find themselves in September only a few games out, and instead of spoiler, they might say, hey, you know what, this division's here for the taking, because there is nobody running away. Arizona's had a run, Colorado's had a run, but look at them struggle without Tulowitzki in the lineup. I mean, so again, Dodgers are behind them, so they don't have to, they're focused on what's in front of them, and they're right there. So in that pitching, like you said, if that pitching can maintain, and we're watching Marquis have a standout year out of nowhere, where'd that come from? Yeah. And like you said, Cashner stepping up, San Diego team's dangerous because there is no pressure, and they continue to fly under the radar.
Marquis is a guy, and then we'll get to your free pick officially, but Marquis, he's a guy that the sabermetrics guys, they look at his stats, and he's a go against.
Sure.
But he keeps going out, and whether he's dancing through the raindrops or whatever,
right,
he's getting out of jams and he's getting the job done. But his numbers actually are not as good as his record, shows that he's been performing. But hey, enough about that. This is Ken's free pick. Let's make it official.
There you go. All right, so hopefully on the tail end of Marco's San Diego Padre victory is another one on Sunday with Andrew Cashner on the hill. I like Cashner. He's one of my fantasy pitchers in fantasy baseball. Last game, 6 2/3, 6 strikeouts, just 1 walk, gave up 3 runs, but did not get a decision. San Francisco came back and won that game. In fact, the Giants took 2 at AT&T Park, come from behind victories against San Diego, or the Padres would have had even a longer winning streak, but they found themselves in the thick of things in the NL West. I like this team. Again, talked about the guys that went on the DL, but Venable and Blanks, they've stepped up with some power. We know Chase Headley, when he's healthy, is top of the line. Logan Forsythe has come in, Denorfia, you have Hundley, Siriaco, Amarista. All these guys right now are contributing. And again, there's nobody that's going to catch your attention statistic-wise night in, night out. But this is a true definition of a team. This is a team that plays very well together and a great manager in Buddy Black. So I really look for San Diego to take care of business against the Dodgers. Why? Because Matt McGill's on the hill. And the last time he started a game, it's not pretty. 6 innings pitched. Now, he went 6 innings. You're saying, okay, that's good for a spot starter, somebody that got pressed into duty. 7 runs. Only 5 hits. How about 9 walks? Are you kidding me? What manager even sits there to watch somebody walk 9 people in 6 innings? Mattingly did it. And again, Don Mattingly, as good a player as he was at the, for the Pinstripes, he struggles on the bench as far as making managerial decisions. And the pitching staff is a lot of his problem as far as knowing when to put guys in and take guys out. So I look for San Diego to get another win. Again, the Dodger lineup, when you look at it on paper with Puig coming up and Hanley Ramirez back in the lineup, it's tough with Agon. At any time, they can get on a winning streak and score some runs. But right now, most of the home runs that they're hitting, solo shots, not really affecting anything as far as, big innings. And the Dodgers have struggled to put up big innings. And at Petco, I don't think they'll get much off Cashner. I think Cashner will be on Sunday probably about a -120, maybe -125 because of the advantage against McGill. But I like San Diego, the way they're playing. Hey, they could be 10 games over 500 at Petco coming into this ball game. So I'm going to go for the Padres there on the pregame.tv. Play a little back-to-back San Diego stuff.
A little San Diego doubleheader Saturday and Sunday from Ken and I. Well, we'll be right back. One more video for the weekend. We're going to go to the National League. We've got the New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies. That's up next. Pregame.tv.